I do believe that there is going to be a good deal of adoption the next decade, but I have seen what you've been talking about in terms of the psychology of people, specifically in countries like the United States, Australia, Europe. I'm not optimistic about those countries. I'm very
Well, but the
pessimistic.
funny thing is, it's also in the broken countries, man. Like Eastern Europe, you would expect everybody to be on a Bitcoin standard. No, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah,
It's too
yeah.
expensive. That's the number one thing. Like I went around like Macedonia, for example, and that's the kind of country that needs it. You can't send money in and out of Macedonia, for example, because the banks just fucking block the shit. Like so, there's embargoes and all that sort of stuff. Um, they're more comfortable with stable coins, because they can get their head wrapped around that. But for them, they're just like, you know, there's the language barrier. There's no content. There's a couple people who might get it, but by and large, like they're just not there. And that's the same. Like in Brazil here, like you talk to most people. Oh yeah, I've heard about the Bitcoin thing, but it's too expensive. I can't invest in that. Like straight away, the language is I can't invest in that. They're not even at the point of thinking about money yet, or even considering that it's better money, let alone holding their wealth in this thing that they don't understand. They just think of it as like, okay, maybe I can make money out of this thing. Like the fact that you're thinking I can make money out of this thing shows that you don't even perceive it as money. So like, there might be, pockets like Salvador and stuff like that, but you're talking about 0.1% of the population, like it's we've really got to get past this speculatory phase, and that's why I say it's like it's not going to be those of us who have to undo our own conditioning to sort of remove from our brain that money is a government issued thing or is paper or credit cards, and replace that programming with no, money can be this network that operates in a decentralized fashion, but like that, first of all, that psychology is a big fucking leap. But kids that are born after 2008, they will perceive it completely differently. That's why I say that, when it's their turn, when they're 20 or 21, 22, whatever, from 2030 onwards, they will perceive Bitcoin differently as this. They'll see, oh, fuck, this is a tool. I can use this to fucking make my business better. I can use this to enhance, like, add fucking financial functionality into this app. Like, they're going to think completely differently because they will not have had that prior conditioning that we've had, or that our parents had, or that the grandparents had. And that's a real shift, versus us trying to, like, convince people, like trying to convince fucking Peter Schiff ain't gonna happen. But a kid that's born in 2010, there's nothing to convince.
Yeah. And they most likely they will own Bitcoin, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, how, like, they, instead of opening a fucking bank, how hard is that going to be versus setting up a Lightning wallet? They'll be like, what the fuck? Why would I do that for?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So
And
you
they'll be
also
thinking in sats too as well. Sorry to keep interrupting,
no
but
no no
like
no go
at that
ahead, man.
point,
Stage is
you're
yours.
talking like two more cycles, right? So like we're at 25K now. Let's say next halving, we like, I mean, each halving is roughly an order of magnitude higher, right? So let's just assume that next halving 250, halving after that 2.5, whatever. Let's just say we get to the mill. 1 mil is cent sat parity. Like that's actually a point at which you have far more liquidity in Bitcoin, far less volatility, and people are thinking at that point in sats. That's a very different place to come from, which is what that generation will be growing up in and living in. Not, Bitcoin between 25K and 30K today. Like, it's completely different paradigms.